Oh, chill!
These influencers thought a few posts, jokes, or stunts would boost their fame. But the moment they crossed the wrong people, the game changed. From a small-town American creator who replied to Mario Meek Gates with nothing more than a mocking emoji, to a spoiled silver spoon influencer forced to flee the country after one reckless stunt, what followed shocked everyone who thought it was just a post. These are influencers who disrespected the wrong gangs. Unleaks. On June 20th, 2024, 25-year-old TikTok creator Gabriel Sarmiento, known online as Unleaks, was broadcasting live to thousands of followers. As a digital whistleblower, he had built a platform of 80,000 followers by exposing Venezuela's darkest operations, from police corruption and extortion to the country's most feared gang, the Tren de Aragua. During his rant, the sound of violent banging shook his house. His mother screamed and panic took over. In a moment of sheer terror, he blurted out his own address, begging for help, unaware that this would mark the beginning of his end. His path to this moment began in Aragua State, a region already infamous for gang activity. Gabriel's TikTok content started with lighthearted local humor and everyday life, but it grew bolder as his audience expanded. By the time he had amassed more than 77,000 followers and over 1 million likes, his page had become a platform for exposing corruption. He distinguished himself by naming names, posting photos, and directly accusing police units like the DAAT of running extortion rackets, even tagging high-level officials in his posts. This shift turned his channel from entertainment into raw, unfiltered activism. His most dangerous move was taking on the Tren de Aragua, a powerful organization involved in drug trafficking, human smuggling, and extortion across Latin America, which the U.S. has designated a terrorist organization. Gabriel publicly mocked its leader, Hector Guerrero Flores, and shared messages he claimed came from their prison contacts, accusing the gang of silencing critics through police allies. In doing so, he made himself a prominent target and received numerous death threats, which he then broadcast to his audience, almost daring his enemies to act. This fearless style resonated deeply with everyday Venezuelans, turning him into a digital hero. But in an environment where powerful words carry fatal risks, such visibility comes at a cost. That June night, during another live stream, gunmen stormed his home in El Piñonal and fired at least 9 shots. His mother was wounded in the abdomen, and Gabriel collapsed on camera, pleading for help as blood pooled around him. After the stream ended abruptly, clips of the attack spread rapidly across social media. Venezuela's Attorney General, Tarek William Saab, quickly announced an investigation, assigning the case to the 69th Prosecutor's Office. Authorities soon arrested Pierina Uribari, the partner of alleged shooter Adrian Romero, and issued warrants for Romero and 2 other suspects. While officials hinted at possible involvement by the Tren de Aragua, they remained cautious, leaving open the question of whether this was gang retaliation, a police-assisted cover-up, or both. Illuminati 6. In a fatal bid for relevance, a well-known TikToker named Illuminati 6 made the catastrophic error of accepting any dare from his followers to keep his followers entertained. This strategy led directly to a specific challenge that would seal his tragic fate. He was dared to publicly insult one of Mexico's most feared men, Joaquin El Mencho Guzman, the leader of the CJN cartel. Without any hesitation, Illuminati 6 accepted the challenge and created the video. Leaning casually against a light pole in a black t-shirt and ripped jeans with a backpack slung over his shoulder, he delivered his reckless provocation. He boldly accused El Mencho of immoral oddities, declared himself untouchable and immortal, and compared his own status to other social media figures like El Pirata and El Chanito de Culiacan, who had both been executed by El Mencho's cartel. To conclude his performance, he stated that he had made a pact with the devil and felt no fear about speaking out against the cartel leader. Once he uploaded it, the video rapidly went viral on platforms like Reddit and Twitter, shocking viewers with its sheer recklessness. The public reaction was a mix of speculation that he was either a cartel insider himself or dangerously naive about the peril he had invited. The ensuing silence from El Mencho and the CJang was itself shocking, a stark contrast to their usual public threats, leading some to wonder whether his location outside Mexico was shielding him. This mysterious silence was broken a few days later when Illuminati 6 posted a new video, this time offering a desperate apology. He claimed he had not been mentally aware during his previous rant and begged for forgiveness, explaining he had only been trying to please his followers without considering the consequences. His sudden reversal sparked a massive online reaction, with many wondering if he had received a direct private threat or had simply realized the grave danger he was in. Shortly after this apology, Illuminati 6 vanished completely from social media, with his accounts wiped clean and his whereabouts unknown. A final cryptic video later appeared on a different account, but since that moment, no one has heard from him again, and his ultimate fate remains an unresolved mystery. La Langosta. On August 7, 2025, police in Mount Vernon, New York discovered Ariela Mejia Polanco, the influencer known as La Langosta, shot dead in her running white Mercedes SUV. Investigators quickly confirmed her death was a deliberate homicide. Ariela was a prominent nightlife figure whose public life was shadowed by her close ties to the rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine. He had previously aligned with the violent 9 Trey Gangster Bloods before his 2019 arrest on racketeering charges, after which he testified against the gang for a reduced sentence. As his steadfast companion, Ariela became a public symbol of his new life, making her a target for those he betrayed. According to Westchester County authorities, nothing was stolen, and her vehicle was untouched, indicating a professional, execution-style hit where someone pulled up, opened fire, and vanished. Her death sparked public mourning and online speculation, with many pointing to the 9 Trey Gangster Bloods. Although the police have not yet named any suspects, they have confirmed the attack was targeted and are investigating Ariela's connection to Tekashi 6ix9ine as a central motive. Lina. On October 23, 2023, a shocking act of violence unfolded in southwest Santiago when popular TikToker Sabrina Duran Montero was gunned down in broad daylight by 2 cartel hitmen. This brutal event raised a pressing question: how did a social media star become a cartel target? The path to her death began in May 2022, when Sabrina was arrested alongside her brothers for drug trafficking in Penaflor. Authorities identified her as the leader of a group responsible for drug collection and sales, a group also engaged in a violent feud with a rival gang in Las Praderas. As this conflict intensified and fear spread through the region, the Chilean government dispatched 100 detectives for a major crackdown, resulting in Sabrina's arrest as she attempted to escape through a back window. While serving a 3-year sentence, she began posting on TikTok under the name Katrina Guzman, also known as Lina, the TikTok narco queen. Her account, a puzzling feat to run from prison, featured beauty videos and product promotions, quickly amassing over 610,000 followers. The content itself showed no illegal activity, but her display of gold jewelry and expensive clothes cultivated a glamorous image. Over time, this public glorification of her dual identity as a cartel leader and social media star made her a significant liability, a threat that her own group ultimately decided to eliminate. On the day she was killed, Sabrina was traveling to a nail salon in Santiago when 3 hitmen intercepted her car. They dragged her from the vehicle and shot her 8 times, after which they drove her car away and set it ablaze a few miles from the scene. A bystander recorded the aftermath, capturing Sabrina bleeding helplessly on the ground. She was rushed to an ambulance, but the profound blood loss was too severe, and she passed away before she could be saved. Chilean authorities launched an immediate investigation, but the identities of the assailants remain unknown, and no apparent motive for the murder has been established. Teadodashoota. On May 23, 2017, in Englewood, Chicago, a 22-year-old rapper, Kamanta Tido Reese, known online as Teadodashoota, was shot and killed on a porch. His death resulted directly from a social media exchange that escalated with fatal consequences. The conflict began when rival Mario Meek Gates insulted Tido's mother, and Tido replied with a single mocking emoji. In Chicago's intense gang culture, such public disrespect demands retaliation. Tido was an emerging drill rapper and a member of the Black Disciples, who used his substantial Twitter presence to showcase his music and gang affiliations. To his rivals, the Gangster Disciples, his emoji reply was a deliberate act of shaming. Within the drill rap world, where backing down is perceived as weakness, Tido felt compelled to project fearlessness. This digital confrontation culminated on May 19th when a car pulled up to the porch where Tido was sitting and gunfire erupted. Chicago police confirmed his murder was gang-related and that the inflammatory Facebook post played a key role. Rodolfo Fofo Marquez. Known online as Fofo, this influencer leveraged his inherited wealth to build a massive social media presence, meticulously crafting an image of extravagant luxury with posts featuring flashy cars and exclusive nightclubs. His ostentatious content attracted over 3 million Instagram followers, a success he later translated to TikTok, where his fame continued to grow alongside a reputation for a massive ego and an unshakable sense of invincibility. His relentless pursuit of engagement culminated on July 7, 2020. Fofo took 3 of his luxury cars and parked them in the middle of the Matute Remus Bridge in Guadalajara, Mexico. He got out of one of the cars and started filming the traffic building up behind him, boasting about his power and wealth. He also casually explains that he closed the bridge because he wanted to demonstrate his influence and, according to him, what money and power can do. As helpless drivers honked, he gloated over the gridlock he created, even contemplating a TikTok dance amidst the chaos. The immediate backlash was severe. The mayor threatened legal action, and TikTok banned his account within 48 hours. This public humiliation forced Fofo to acknowledge he was not untouchable, leading him to issue a formal apology on social media, which his audience ultimately accepted. The mayor mandated that he complete several hours of community service cleaning beneath the very bridge he had obstructed, a sentence which he duly fulfilled. Yet, unknown to him, the CJNG cartel had been observing his actions from the shadows. Just as the public outrage began to subside, the cartel reignited the crisis by sending a direct message to Fofo Marquez. This cryptic threat arrived from an anonymous account called Gente con la Gente NG, meaning people with the new generation, and quickly began circulating on social media. In it, the cartel condemned his reckless stunt on the Matute Remus Bridge, labeling him an animal and vowing to deliver justice. They explicitly stated that they controlled Jalisco, and, by extension, all of Mexico, and that Fofo had made a massive error by challenging their authority in Guadalajara. The message promised dire consequences, warning that his immense wealth would not protect him if he ever set foot in the city again. Understanding that no amount of money or personal security could shield him from the CJNG's proven capacity for violence, Fofo was plunged into panic. He immediately issued another public apology and then fled to his family's mansion, attempting to hide from the cartel's far-reaching influence. He considered hiring armed guards, but recognized that even this would be futile against an organization known for dismantling rival hitmen and military battalions. For days he remained barricaded inside, too frightened to approach a window and relying on a transceiver to contact the outside world, his life now reduced to a cage of pure fear. After several months, Fofo miraculously resumed his life when the CJNG did not act on its threats. He had been granted a second chance, but the ordeal left his public reputation permanently damaged. El Pirata de Culiacan. In 2017, the noisy atmosphere of Zapopan Jalisco bar was shattered when gunmen from the Jalisco New Generation Cartel's elite unit entered and opened fire on a teenager who believed he was untouchable. That teenager was Juan Luis Lagunas Rosales, known to his massive online following as El Pirata de Culiacan. Born in Navolato, Sinaloa, and raised by his grandmother after his parents left, Juan faced difficult circumstances from an early age. He dropped out of school at 15 and washed cars in Culiacan to survive, eventually finding an escape through social media. His raw, chaotic clips, guzzling liquor, telling crude jokes, and stumbling through house parties resonated widely, earning him over 1 million Facebook followers and 300,000 on Instagram. Fans celebrated his rebellious persona and his catchphrase, Puro Pirata, seeing him as a symbol of fearless defiance. This reckless online behavior, however, began to intersect dangerously with narco culture. During one intoxicated live stream, he crossed a fatal line by mocking Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, the notoriously feared leader of the CGang known as El Mencho. Juan slurred a crude insult directly at the cartel kingpin, a provocation that could not be ignored in a world where cartel power is absolute. That December night, while drinking with friends at the Montados Canaros bar, a black truck pulled up and several armed men walked in. They opened fire, hitting Juan at least 15 times and critically wounding the bar manager. Still, Juan was dead before he could receive any help and was later identified by his distinctive tattoos. News of his killing spread with the same speed as his viral videos, flooding social media with shock and theories that the CGang had ordered the hit as a punishment for his public insult. Eric Ramirez. On March 24, 2023, Eric Tadeo Ramirez of Laredo, Texas, made a fatal error by boasting he had stolen $50,000 from the notoriously dangerous Cartel del Noreste. Just hours later, around midnight, a group of masked and armed men arrived in a blue pickup truck, stormed his home, and forcibly took him. Security camera footage captured a desperate scene as the truck crossed the Laredo International Bridge into Nuevo Laredo, Mexico, showing a bloodied Eric attempting to escape from the moving vehicle before being violently pulled back inside. After his girlfriend and sister realized he was missing and reported his abduction, witnesses revealed Eric had been on the phone just before the incident, bragging about the theft and stating he felt safe because he was in the United States. Days later, on March 27th, authorities arrested Jonathan Cabriales, a confirmed cartel member, at a port of entry while he was driving the same truck used in the kidnapping. Cabriales admitted his knowledge of the $50,000 theft and was formally charged with kidnapping. Eric Tadeo Ramirez, however, remains missing, and the other assailants have not been apprehended. Papy. Back in 2015, Shaquan Young, known as Papy, from Chicago's South Side, was making waves as his song Killa, where he openly mocked deceased members of the rival Gangster Disciples, approached 2 million views on YouTube. As a member of the Polo Boys, a set aligned with the Black Disciples, Papy used his music and social media to launch relentless attacks against his enemies, effectively moving a traditional gang conflict into the digital age of cyberbanging. He also often shared personal details and even hints about his location, unknowingly providing his enemies with a clear roadmap to his whereabouts. By 2015, the digital threats against him had become frequent and severe. On the evening of May 18, 2015, as he walked along the 4,800 block of North Kenmore Avenue in Uptown, a car pulled up shortly after 1:35 early in the morning. A gunman in a gray hoodie emerged, firing 2 bullets into Papy's back before fleeing in a black vehicle. Papy was rushed to Illinois Masonic Medical Center, where he ultimately succumbed to his fatal injuries. Candyman 2.0. On July 13, 2021, Troy Williams, the Australian influencer known as Candyman 2.0, froze when he saw a video tagged to his own Instagram account. The clip showed a group of masked teenagers ransacking the $130,000 Mercedes belonging to his pregnant girlfriend Anita. They laughed as they waved his designer sunglasses, tried on his watches, and flipped off the camera. directly attacking the luxurious, untouchable image he had built his public empire on. This confrontation, however, had been ignited months earlier. In March 2021, emboldened after avoiding serious charges from a dangerous driving incident, Troy used Instagram to mock the local teen gangs, like the Coast Shadows, who were known for break-ins and car thefts. Flaunting his supercars from his home, he dared them to act, a challenge they took personally. These youths, who resented his ostentatious wealth, waited for their opportunity, which arrived in July when Anita left her car unattended during a prenatal appointment. The crew seized the moment, stealing bags, jewelry, custom merchandise, and even Anita's ultrasound photo. They documented the entire act and brazenly posted the video to Troy's own profile. His response was swift and calculated. He offered a $5,000 reward for information, and within a day, his followers provided the identities and license plates of those responsible. Instead of involving the police, Troy chose to confront them directly. On July 15th, he arrived at a park in Qumra in a black Lamborghini with associates, where the crew gathered. The tense confrontation resulted in the return of his stolen property, and Troy later framed the event online as a public lesson against crime. Yet the conflict did not end. By late 2021, anonymous accounts began leaking his supposed address, issuing threats, and claiming responsibility for vandalizing his cars, with many believing it was the same group seeking retaliation. In early 2022, Troy's home was raided by police on drug charges, amid rumors the tip had come from the youths. Despite these setbacks, by 2023 he had launched an energy drink, GUP, partnered with businessman Adrian Portelli, and celebrated the birth of his son. Definitely, with more to lose now, Troy has learned not to mess with anyone, even though they are just a gang of mischievous youth. KTS Dre. The feud between KTS and NLMB isn't for clout. It runs deep, generational, and raw, and it turned deadly in 2008 when a kid named Lil Pez was killed. Though not officially KTS, he was family. The blame fell squarely on NLMB. KTS Dre and his brother Von stepped up. They didn't just trade disses on tracks. They invaded NLMB territory, hunting like it was a sport. The 2012 McDonald's encounter became legendary. Dre and Von caught NLMB off guard outside the restaurant. Dre approached Cairo, unmasked and unflinching, striking him and demanding he curse their fallen. Cairo stayed silent, but the disrespect was unmistakable. Security intervened, yet the message was clear. This war had no boundaries. As Dre and Von walked away, gunfire erupted behind them. No one fell, but the warning was clear. The battle was far from over. In 2013, KTS struck again. Jacoby Heron, known as Kobe, an NLMB member, was killed outside the same McDonald's on East 79th. Celebrating a birthday with family, Kobe left alone and was gunned down. G. Herbo and friends arrived too late. The streets blamed Dre and Von, but no arrests were made. NLMB attempted retaliation, but Dre and Von survived. They flaunted their survival in videos, showing they had emerged unscathed and untouchable. In 2015, Von released Kill to Survive, wearing a jacket mocking fallen NLMB members. The act escalated tensions further. Retaliation came swiftly. On June 23rd, Von was shot and killed on Ellis Avenue near 75th by men from an SUV. He was 21. As with many Chicago killings, no arrests followed. Before Dre could avenge his brother, he was jailed on a gun charge for 3 years. Even after release, he cycled in and out of jail for child endangerment, domestic battery, and drug offenses. In April 2020, Dre was caught with a firearm at a gas station and arrested for being a felon in possession. He posted bond, but remained on house arrest. January 2021 brought another blow. NLMB's Lil Greg was killed at a State Street barbershop. The shooter struck him in the face and fled in a Volvo SUV. Greg was close to G. Herbo. Christopher Mosley was later stopped with a matching car and gun, but released for lack of evidence. Dre denied involvement, yet continued mocking NLMB online. Even under house arrest, Dre remained mobile. He traveled to Wisconsin without permission, violating parole. Authorities caught up to him, sending him back for a brief time. On his release day, as he left Cook County with his fiancée and grandmother, shooters opened fire. Dre took 64 rounds to his face and torso. His grandmother and an innocent bystander survived. Dre died instantly at 31. No one was officially charged, but the streets whispered that NLMB retaliated for Lil Greg. Ella Looen. On August 16, 2025, in Temixco, Morelos Camilo Ochoa, known online as Ella Looen, was filming a casual Instagram video, laughing about his overstuffed wardrobe, when a gunman stormed through his front door. The news spread rapidly. Thousands who had watched his light-hearted post soon saw headlines announcing his execution, a violent end for a man from a privileged background. Camilo's family founded the El Pollo Loco grilled chicken chain. This business expanded from Sinaloa to the United States, and he worked comfortably within it until a 2004 kidnapping by Los Zetas fundamentally altered his path. After being held hostage for 7 days until his family paid a ransom, he was drawn deeper into the criminal world, eventually becoming a plaza boss in Mazatlan for the Sinaloa cartel under Damaso Lopez Nunez, known as El Licenciado. Following El Chapo's arrest, internal factions split the cartel, and Camilo's alignment with El Chapo's sons, Los Chapitos, proved to be a fateful decision. A 2015 arrest led to a 7-year prison sentence, during which reports indicated El Licenciado ordered his assassination, a failed attempt that Camilo survived. Upon his release in 2024, facing his father's illness and his daughter's pleas, he publicly claimed to leave his old life behind. He reinvented himself as a social media storyteller. Adopting the persona Ella Looen, the hallucination, he captivated a large online following with wild tales of kidnappings. He failed in deals while also directly criticizing the rival La Maiza faction loyal to El Mayo Zambada and his son Mayito Flaco. His accusations grew increasingly bold, culminating in a final video posted the day he died, where he condemned Mayito Flaco for a savage attack that did not spare 2 minors. By mid-2025, the conflict turned overtly lethal when flyers bearing a blacklist of 25 names, including his own, were dropped from planes over Culiacan. Several El Pollo Loco restaurants were targeted, and Camilo publicly acknowledged the threats, pleading for official protection that never came. He continued posting defiantly until August 16th, when a gunman found him in his home. He was shot multiple times and killed in front of his wife. By then, 6 others on the block list had also been murdered. After his death, his channels fell silent, leaving his audience to debate whether he was a truth teller or simply reckless, because cartels do not distinguish between online provocation and a tangible act of disrespect. Coldheart. The altercation happened in May 2019 inside a Louis Vuitton store in Charlotte, North Carolina. Local rapper Coldheart confronted DaBaby in front of shoppers, trying to embarrass him on camera for clout. Cam started shouting insults, calling DaBaby a bitch, and trying to provoke him into a scene. DaBaby stayed calm, barely responding. Cam swung first. Within seconds, DaBaby fought back, dropping him to the floor. The video that followed showed Cam with his pants down, his face swollen, and DaBaby standing over him, recording the aftermath. DaBaby posted the clip online, saying Cam started the fight and lost. The footage spread instantly, and Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube were flooded with memes and jokes. People laughed at Cam's defeat, turning it into one of the most viral rap moments of the year. Cam tried to defend himself afterward, claiming DaBaby's security had jumped him. Later, he changed the story, saying the fight was staged to promote DaBaby's image. But the damage was already done. The video had made him a meme. Thanks for watching. Now check out the videos popping up on screen for more unbelievable stories.